Hey everyone, it's Justin here, Voices for Voices. Thank you, as always, for joining us on the show. We are grateful here to be in 2026 and bringing more fresh content to you through our Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. Uh, we're getting up to speed with our blog posts. So that's one thing that we are doing that we hadn't prioritized, mainly due to staff and right. So when you have limited staff, you have to kind of pick the things that absolutely positively need to get done. And blogs or something that needed to get done, but kept falling a little bit below that threshold. So that's one thing that you may be seeing as we get 2026 off the ground. Besides, the content, the occasional TikTok live. Uh, you, you can find us anywhere and everywhere. You can watch us. You can listen to us wherever you are. If you can Pinterest on it, you can Voices for Voices on it. And we would be grateful if you'd be able to hit that subscribe button, like, follow, share, give the thumbs up. Those are all things that are free of charge for you to do. And if you're able to, reach out to 25, 30 of your friends, your followers, and let them know about the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. We are uh, the hottest TV show and podcast that is out globally, worldwide, behind the Joe Rogan experience. He has been doing this a little bit longer, or a lot longer than we have, and so it comes as no shock, no surprise that Joe Rogan is up there at the top. The one thing that we're bringing in that's a little bit different is we're bringing a kind of a nonprofit feel because we are a nonprofit. So we are a 501(c)(3) nonprofit charity organization who are bootstrapping this. We are crushing our goals with a zero budget, uh, $0 budget, I guess is the way to call it, meaning there's very little money that goes into the organization. And some of you may be able to say, well, yeah, it really shows. And we have, when I say, crushing goals, we're only supposed to be at 300 episodes at this point. Uh, once we turn the page into 2026, and we crushed it by over 100 additional episodes. So that's what we're that's what we're talking about. Um, so thank you for joining us. One thing I want to just ask at the outset is, how do you share your voice? How do you share your voice with others? Is it through the spoken word? Is it sign language? Is it through music? Is it through written, like novels, stories? Is it through art, like painting, animating? There's so many different ways that we express and share our voice with with others, and even with other forms of our voices, sharing. Uh, what's the one that you like to do that you prefer? It doesn't. We're not looking for perfection at all. We're just curious. We're curious to know what how you use your voice, because we know that one of the most terrifying, I guess, things to do uh, is to do public speaking. So I would, if that data holds true, I would think that public speaking and being on a show that's not yours, you're a guest on it. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out. We're curious. So if you can, drop those in the comments, you can reach out to us, let us know. We're curious. Then we'll share that feedback as the as our show, continues here through 2026. And uh, so we'd love to hear your feedback. The other part of the feedback is, since we just turned the page on the new year, our New Year's resolutions, are those still kind of a thing uh, where there's something or some things that you have in mind to say, okay, I'm gonna do better at this, and I and so leave that in the comments as well. Let us know what that looks like for you, or for people in your circle. Like what's the popular thing? Is it still going to the gym, sticking to a workout schedule, uh, eating cleaner? Uh, I don't know. You tell us what it is. One thing that So I'll get into a little bit about me. Well, I want to say, I guess this is a maybe a byproduct of when I hit rock bottom mentally in 2017, that I I had, like, I'm saying, no filter, but I would using not great language, swearing, and that was something. I don't even know when I started it, uh, but I have noticed, and I'm just surprised that I haven't really shared much about it, because depending on our upbringing and our following and all that, I'm just surprised that I'm surprised on myself, which I guess that's kind of hard to do. But as a byproduct of basically uh, getting a mental health team around me, some of that may or may not include medication, uh, drinking alcohol, and all that. Um, and I just want to clear something up for, when I talk about like drug use, like I wasn't on like benders and, days and days and days at a time. Like I would say I experimented, it, and I think that's gotten taken out of context. Um, where, because I talk about it and I share about it, that it seems like, well, that must have been like I know his alcohol consumption, and I know how out of control that was. And so if I know about that, then surely his drug abuse was the same, just out of control. And I want to just say to those that have thought that, and that's not the case. Uh, the big thing for me was alcohol. Yes, I experimented, but that's it. I didn't have a dealer on call. Like, I mean, that I didn't do any of that. And so I want to clear that up because that is unfortunate with, with a lot of people following, watching and listening. Uh, that the when I say like, of the drug abuse and that, like, I just meant that I experimented. I didn't mean that, like I said, that it was like a daily occurrence for many, many, many years. It was not even close to that. It was way closer to the other end of the spectrum than what I just said. So I want to share that and just make sure I'm being very, very clear with that because I'd be doing my own self. I am doing myself a disservice by talking about that and giving the impression that that was like some huge part of my mental health crash in 2017. It was about the alcohol abuse. It was about it was about the alcohol abuse and not talking through uh, a very high number of just different topics and so that was the biggest parts and so anybody who has heard me talk about and say, oh, like, I've, drug abuse, that was like a big thing for me. It's not, it wasn't. I experimented and that's about where it left off. So I just want to be crystal clear about that. And that's my fault for not explaining it much better, much clearer. I get it. It's on me. It comes across a certain way. Um, but that wasn't the case at all. Not even close to it. So that's the first thing. The second thing is what I really wanted to just talk about was, the language and me swearing. And, there's been a couple episodes where I've used not great language here and there. I guess I started to notice the decrease in, I say like uh, a decrease in, the F bombs and all, just words that, we wouldn't want to be sharing in front of our children and kids uh, and so that's something that over time, I guess I'm not realizing until now because I haven't really brought it up and if I have, it's been quite a long time in our shows. I may have mentioned it briefly. Uh, it- and maybe it's because I've said a few a few of those swear words, the words that I like to remove from my vocabulary and which has been removed from my vocabulary for quite a long time. Mostly I internalize it. Uh, and just say it's not worth it. Like as far as like saying those words, like all it's gonna do is just get me fired up and riled up even more. So uh, I I guess I've over the years since 2017 and with going through the healing that I'm trying to go through on a day-to-day basis, which some parts I'm doing great, some parts I'm failing miserably. I think that's I think it's just life in general. Uh, that's where I'm at. And I want to say like there is hope, as far as the language goes. I I remember this just being not a good example. Uh, Again, to have conversations with the age groups, and going into schools like I have and speaking to them, uh, and then obviously with our show and podcasts and the various media opportunities I've been given over the years. I'm so grateful for that. And I think I just felt and feel that I just owed it because before this show, before Voices for Voices was a thing, I was on a few shows, few podcasts, few TV shows, and it was almost like a challenge to me because when when you have when you have that anxiety, it's one thing to think in your head like, oh yeah, I'll just refrain from using the F-bomb and in other words. But then it's another one when the camera's on and the lights on and I've never been on it and I was never on a show before. And you're thinking about trying to talk about my personal brand and the organization and it's kind of like things just move so fast. Like time goes so fast. So many guests have told me over the course of the years and the episodes that uh say, let's just plan on one episode, but then I'm like, maybe we should plan on two just in case, because I know how fast time goes, and I would rather have extra time than to have, than to be rushing uh, a guest through their branding and answering questions and just having a conversation because I know that I wouldn't want to be rushed off. And so anyway, so kind of at the beginning, before Voices for Voices, when I was starting to formulate that I wanted to do something organization wise, I wanted to help people. That was what I wanted to do. That was just the big overarching theme. I wanted to help people and I want to help people now and continue to help people. That's why we have this huge goal of helping 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond. And we have plans in place that should get us there. Uh, Lord willing, and by the grace of God, we will do that. And whether it's through my time here on Earth or whether it's after I've passed, I think we got a great thing going, and so or reverting back to those early shows. I was so worried that I was going to miss something, that I was going to say or like. Well, I say it now. And I've had 400 some plus opportunities, and that's just I'm just a regular person. So that's just, oh well. I'm a regular person. I try to cut down on the ums and the likes and those filler words. And I remember being in school, counting, somebody speaking, how many times they say the word like or and here I am saying it's a bunch. There you go. So through all the madness of trying to remember everything that I wanted to say, not knowing exactly how questions would go from the host, because sometimes it's easy to stay on track and other times it's not. And now I understand that more as a host, that sometimes you just get so off track, not in a bad way. It's great conversation, and some of those episodes are some of the best we've had. And so that's why I like having a cushion, be able to have at least time set aside for a couple shows just in case. And so I guess it started as a challenge with the language on those first shows that I was asked to be a guest on. And it's not easy to do. Because I had a million things running through my head, just like I think we all do, almost all day, every day now. And so when I was able to do it, and then I was able to slow things down in my mind to the fact or to the point where I could think, where I had a little more clearness and clarity in my mind when I was asked the question. And now when I ask and when I open up shows and I close shows, we don't use a script. When I started out, we did, and it got to be just it wasn't coming across as original because there was time at the beginning and the end where it was these canned lines and trying to make sure that I was getting certain things in. And I was like, we have here's our brand, here's who we are, here's our body of work, right? This is, I think, episode 405. So we've had a lot of shows, and we know there's a lot of repeat viewers, repeat listeners. We love you all, whether this is the first time you're with us or you've been with us from the beginning. But we do, we have a lot of content. And that's the whole goal of how we're approaching helping people, is by talking about the hard questions, the hard topics. We're talking about life. Some of it is easier than others. And I can't apologize for talking about life. I can't. I have to, we have to be able to talk about hard topics and how they affect us as human beings, because that's how we're going to be able to help people in some of the most vulnerable times of their lives and our lives, that sometimes people tune in for that 20 seconds, and that 20 seconds was enough to at least get a little bug in their ear to get them thinking, like, okay, here's somebody is at least addressing and talking about these topics. Doesn't mean you have to agree with me. Doesn't mean you have to be 100% on board. We just want you to know that we are sharing very very deep concepts, uh, life, and anybody who I'll say, I don't know the age, but as we grow up, and it took me, I think, longer to mature than normal. Some people may say took a took me a long time. Part of it might have been the language, others, the partying and all that, and so now when some people see and hear me, it's almost as if they don't. It's almost as if like they don't recognize me. like whether it be like being around me or having a conversation. It's like, well, that's not the Justin I remember. And I get shut down all the time on interview requests from people I went to school with and wanting to promote what they're doing. And I know there's probably a lot that's, from the past is automatically like, I don't want to be on his show. Like he was not the best or the kindest. Then I get that. In the same sense, I'm not going to shy away from those times where I did not act accordingly that I should have. Uh, and I think one of the ways that I can heal, or at least try to at least start, is by talking about these these life milestones that happen. And that's why we were so happy when we beat our goal by over 100 episodes because that's a big deal. It's a big deal for somebody like me barely getting a 3.0 in high school and being an outcast and then the story goes and the things I did and not proud of a lot of them. And but here I am. And so there's got to be a reason that I'm here. Like, why am I here? And there's so many people that have been taken from us, not only just in 2025, but why am I here? Why why has God spared me up until now to be here? And the only thing I can think of is that there must be some kind of work, something that he wants me to continue or to do before my time's up here on Earth. That's the only way I can really, as I'm trying to verbalize it and trying to process it in my mind of why me? And I try to be grateful every day, and again, I some days I succeed, some days I fail miserably, and that that's me. I'm a human being, and the times where I have not been the best person, nice and all that, that eats at me. Uh, but after the fact, it's kind of the only thing I can say is, I'm sorry about whatever those things are. I mean, there's so many ups and so many downs in my life, and there's probably some ups and downs at some points of your life and others watching and listening across this planet Earth. It's somehow Voices for Voices, the brand, the show, the organization, the publishing, the media, I I don't know. It's hard for me to, I guess, put the thoughts together. And so the only thing think I know is, while I still have a microphone, while I still have a camera, then God must be telling me to share information, share life experiences that we must be helping people. Because otherwise, why would I be here is what I'm getting at. There's so many more talented people that we've lost over the course of my life that I mean, from musicians, I mean, you can say and think, whatever, as far as, the reasons why they pass on and uh actors and actresses, and there's some very, very talented, exceptionally talented people. And so for me, it's like I keep asking, like why me? Why am I still here? Because at times when I do screw up and I do the wrong thing, say the wrong thing, act the wrong way, I admit it. I mean, I I don't know what else to do. I mean, nobody's perfect, and I know I'm not. So all I can say is sorry. I wish I hadn't said that. I wish I hadn't done that. I wish, but I'm here for something. And so when you hear us talk about wanting to help 3 billion people over the course of my lifetime and beyond, this is why. Why did we get past the first episode? Why did we get past the first 50, the first 100, the first 200, the 300? Why did we beat our goal by over 100 episodes? We were only supposed to hit 300 total episodes by the end of 2025, and we ended up going way over 300, and even some change over 400. Couple more episodes. I think maybe it was like 2 or 3 episodes when it was all said and done before the ball drop uh, to kick off the year 2026. And so I guess that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me waking up, wanting to help, not knowing what that looks like. I just know that I'm an expert on myself, and I am an imperfect person, imperfect human being. So that must be one of the areas that God wants me to at least, up till now, like continue sharing and continue talking. Some of the topics are a little more lighthearted, and some are very, 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 very deep. And 20 years ago, I would never think about talking about the topics. I'd be like, no way, Justin. Like I wouldn't even want to think it in my own mind, let alone have over 100. And you keep hearing me talk about over 100 countries, 1,000 cities. I don't know about you, but number one, those numbers are real. So I see those on a daily basis. And number two, wow, 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 that this little camera, this little microphone, sometimes I wear the earbuds, somewhat I wear the headphones, just depends like how I'm feeling. Sometimes I wear the, wear the green here and we're promoting ourselves, we're promoting Voices for Voices. If you would like to sponsor us for an episode or for a tier, like maybe 10 episodes, you could definitely reach out and we'd love to have that conversation. So sometimes you'll see me wearing different accessories and that, and uh, sometimes I wear them regularly and sometimes I don't. I usually just mostly like for the show because that's what I'm passionate about Voices for Voices. I'm not passionate about somebody else's brand. Nothing wrong with somebody else's brand. I'm just going to promote our brand is how it really just comes down to it. So the language has just gotten better, I think. Less derogatory terms, less derogatory thinking. I'm a work in progress. I think we all are. Yeah, every day if we wake up, whether it's early in the morning or close to noon, we're waking up nonetheless. And so there's got to be something, the God or your higher power, or if you're not a believer, there's got to be something in the mix that is keeping us waking up and keeping us doing what we're doing. Now, I'm not talking about people breaking the law and those things. So don't take me for a fool because I'm not. But the average regular person like me, like the people we work with on the team, we're with the mission. We want to help people, and if you want to help people with us, go ahead and reach out. I'm sure we could sure we could use your help in one way or another, or a multitude of ways. So I start shows saying, we're grateful to be here, grateful to have you, and we truly are because even though we've reached who we've reached, uh, still have to keep coming back and watch and listen. However you do that. Sometimes I listen on one platform, sometimes it's on Spotify, sometimes on iHeart, sometimes it's um, as of late, the Amazon music with the podcasts and uh, YouTube. I mean, we have our YouTube channel. We're starting to I guess, get a little bit smarter and use some of the shorts. We hadn't been doing a whole lot of that. Um, but like I said, continuous learner, and we're just grateful to be here. We really are. Uh, most organizations would have gone belly up or just stopped at this point because they weren't seeing some, huge return on investment and that. So that's when I say that, we're doing this on basically a $0 budget, and we're crushing goals. We crushed a goal by 103 episodes. If that's not passion, if that doesn't show perseverance, persistence, whatever the buzzword you want to use or what's being used out there, I don't know what is. We're bringing it, and we're just so happy to have you with us. So if you could subscribe, if you could give us a big thumbs up, like, follow, share, reach out to 25, 30, 40, 50, 100 of your following, your followers, or text, big group text, the group message on chat. Let them know about the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast, the hottest show on the planet behind the Joe Rogan Experience. Let them know that we crushed our goal by over 100 episodes over the course of where we ended up 2025. We were only supposed to be at 300. Well, we were at not just 400, we were at, I believe it was 403. And we already have two. This is the second episode for 2026 in the books. And we're continuing. Well, God keeps putting me here. You don't have to be a believer. I'm just sharing from my perspective, that's all. God keeps putting me here, higher power keeps putting me here. We're gonna keep sharing. We're gonna keep talking. We're gonna converse. We're gonna talk about some lighthearted things. We're talking about some hard topics, talking about life. So thank you so much for being with us. We love you, no matter who you are, where you're from. Let's try to let's try to reach 200 countries and 2,000 cities across the world. I know we can do it. Can you help us? Thank you so much. We love you. God bless the United States of America, and God bless you wherever you may be across the world. We love you, and we will see you later. Goodbye.